In 2006, an American TV series was released, which very quickly became famous, and all of America sat down to watch it. Perhaps you've seen it or heard its name. The series, Dexter. The summary of the story is that Dexter is a serial killer, but not one who kills ordinary people. He looks for other killers. Anyone he sees who has committed murder, he goes after them. Its story was very interesting. That's why it quickly became famous. Now that we've talked about the Dexter series, let's get to him, Mark Twitchell. Mark was an ordinary person who lived in Edmonton, Canada. But when he got acquainted with the Dexter series, he fell in love with Dexter. Not just a little, but completely. He said, "What a beautiful thing he's doing." He kind of told himself, this is the best thing he's doing. Anyone who can should do the same. And he prepared himself to pursue this work. What should he do? Kill the killers and murderers. Before he started killing murderers, he began writing down his feelings. He started writing all his feelings on his laptop. And in those same journals, he wrote that he was looking for a way to start killing other murderers and killers. He started looking for a killer in his own city, which was small. He searched here and there, but couldn't find a killer. But the story of Dexter influenced him so much that he just wanted to kill someone. If it wasn't a killer, it didn't matter. First, he entered a dating website, the Canadian website Plenty of Fish, under the guise of a beautiful woman, and he catfished, so to speak. Catfishing means you hide your identity. You enter with another identity, and you lure others into a trap. Twitchell became a beautiful woman and went onto this website. It didn't take long for several men to become eager to meet her. He invited the first man to his house, and when he gave the address, he said to come in through the garage door. That man came in, entered the garage, and Twitchell suddenly attacked him in the dark. From his pocket, he pulled out a taser and hit the man's legs. But that man didn't give up so easily. He started fighting back and punching Twitchell. Twitchell saw he was losing, so he reached into his other pocket and pulled out a plastic gun, but a plastic one that looked real. The other man saw that if he gave up, he would be killed. So he lunged at Twitchell headfirst, so much so that the gun fell from Twitchell's hand, and the man picked it up from the ground. He saw, oh, this is a fake toy, and he threw it towards Twitchell and fled from the garage. He left, but there was no news of him. He didn't even report it to the police. He probably thought it would just go away. But Twitchell wrote all of this in his computer and his journals. Mark Twitchell returned to the Plenty of Fish website again and again with the same fake account. He found another man. He gave him the address and said, "Come to my house." The man who was found was John Altinger, 38 years old. He had fallen for the fake picture, but deep down, he was uneasy because he didn't trust these websites. That's why, before he went there, he sent an email to one of his close friends. He said, "I'm going to a place like this. This is the address. I'm just giving you this address so that if something happens to me, you'll know." He set off for Twitchell's house. Twitchell had also told him to come in through the garage door. He came in through the garage door, but this time, Twitchell didn't fight. He hit him on the head with a heavy pipe, and he fell to the ground, unconscious. Unfortunately, Twitchell got a Dexter feeling and brought a kitchen knife. Just like Dexter, he stabbed John directly in the heart, and John was killed right there in the garage. Twitchell tried to hide John's body. First, he took it to a large brazier he had in his backyard and tried to burn it. He saw that it would take too long, and a bad smell had started, that neighbors would come and ask, "What is this?" So he quickly put it out. He took the half-bird body into the garage. And exactly like in the Dexter series, he dismembered the body and put it into black trash bags and sealed them. Dexter lived in Miami, Florida by the ocean. He had a powerful motorboat. He would put these dismembered bodies into black bags, take them in his boat, go to the middle of the sea, and throw them into the water. But Twitchell didn't have an ocean nearby to do this. There are lakes, but it's too obvious. He couldn't throw them there. He put these bags in his car, went to the other side of his town, and on a secluded street, he went to a manhole cover. He opened the cover, threw the bags inside, closed the cover again, and returned home, as if he hadn't done such a thing. When he got home, the first thing he did was open his laptop, and he wrote down all these memories: the killing, the dismembering, the throwing into the sewage. After he finished these writings, he suddenly felt a bit uneasy. In America and Canada, everyone's home address is written on their driver's license. John's driver's license was in his possession. He wrote down John's home address and set off for his house. John lived alone. There was no one in his house. Twitchell easily entered and went into the room, sat behind John's computer, and emailed all of John's friends. "I've met a girl, and I'm going to Costa Rica with her. I'll be gone for a few weeks." On the other hand, he went to John's Facebook page and turned on the relationship status to "in a relationship." But John's friends, many of whom were his colleagues, said, "What does this mean? It's like John has been hacked." They started calling his phone, but no one answered. They even contacted the police. The police said, "Maybe he's gone to Costa Rica. If he doesn't come back, we'll look for him." But his friends said, "It's impossible for him to leave like this." They collectively arranged to go to John's apartment. They looked everywhere. They saw nothing out of place. Everything was in its place. But one of his friends opened his drawer and saw John's passport there. He said, "So how did he go to Costa Rica?" The matter became suspicious. In the midst of all this, John's close friends suddenly saw, oh, John emailed him. The email he had sent before going to Twitchell's house. He opened the email and saw, yes, he said, "I'm going to this house, and he gave this address so you'd be informed." They immediately reported it to the police. They said, "Our friend sent me this email before he disappeared, and the address is here." The police immediately drove to the address. They went there, knocked on the door, and Mark Twitchell himself opened the door. The police still had no evidence of what he had done to John, so they started questioning him. Twitchell became extremely anxious and was answering everything incorrectly. His hands and feet were trembling. When the police finished their questioning, they told Twitchell, "Okay, if we have any more questions, we'll contact you." One big mistake Twitchell had made was that he hadn't taken John's car. It was parked a little further down the street from his house. When the police sat in their car, they checked the license plates of all cars on that street on their car's laptop. And they saw, aha, this car in front of Twitchell's house belongs to John. Immediately, they went back to Twitchell's door and said, "Whose car is this parked here? Do you know its owner?" Twitchell became nervous again and said, "Yes, I bought this car from someone a few days ago." The police said, "Will you allow us to inspect the car you just bought?" Twitchell was so confused, he didn't remember. When he went to John's house with this car and came back, he left his laptop in it. The police inspected the car and found the laptop. As soon as they opened the laptop, without any password or anything, the journals he had been writing were ready to be typed or read. They started reading these journals. They saw, aha, Mr. Twitchell turned out to be quite a fake Dexter. They immediately arrested him. Twitchell had cleaned up his own case, so to speak. There was no need for further investigation or interrogation or such things, because he had written everything on his personal laptop. All its contents had fallen into the hands of the police. It didn't take long for the court to convene, and Mark Twitchell was sentenced to life in prison for murder. This story happened in 2008, right at the beginning of the Dexter series. The first season of this series ended in 2013, but just a few months ago, a new version was released again. If you are a fan of these kinds of series, be sure to watch it. Of course, start from the first series so you can follow the story from the beginning.